What the Ashes means to me is that though we haven't shown the Australian players that we can play yet on a regular basis, and I think that's what I would like to do. I'd like to just go out there this summer and show people that we've shown that to every other country in the world, and I'd like to show some of these people that we play with on a regular basis that we're a top side and we want to be respected as well.
The road to respect seems that much longer now since that day in Brisbane when boldness overrode Nasser Hussain's better judgment. He once lost 13 tosses in a row, but when Her Majesty finally landed face up at the Gabba, he blew it. By the time he'd been carved up both on the field and off, there wasn't much left. Nasser even gave himself a serve.
It was a mistake, but I'm the person sort of paid and in the position to make those hard decisions, and people on the outside can say what they like, but I have to make some hard decisions, and that was the wrong decision, 100%.
When Nasser Hussain was born in Madras 34 years ago, the idea of England's current Ashes drought would have seemed almost as impossible as an Indian boy growing up to lead them down under. Moving to England when Nasser was 5, the family's timing was perfect.
Everything I remember and everything I have beliefs in and people I followed and heroes were all very English, so I feel very English, and I was given a great chance in England, so I've always got that in the back of my mind.
Score, put it away. Happy birthday, that's a glorious pull shot.
Nasser was in and out of the Test team twice before finally claiming the number 3 spot. The next year, 1997, a double century gave England a 1-0 Ashes lead.
That's well played. This forward is square, Elliot.
Yeah, I'd say that's my special memory in cricket, really. Everything about that week at Edgbaston was just magnificent. You know, myself getting runs, a double 100 with probably one of my closest friends in the game, Graham Thorpe, breaking records, bowling him out again. But obviously the main one, beating Australia in 4 days. It was a very special week at the office, yeah.
Glory in the gloom. Pakistan left in the dark by Hussain's heroes. At last, the future looks bright for English cricket.
When the revolving door of English cricket eventually spat Nasser into the leadership, 2000 was hailed as a new dawn. Despite poor form, he skippered a groundbreaking victory in Pakistan, and England won 4 straight series. Nasser was 31 when he took the job, and it seemed coach Duncan Fletcher finally had a captain for whom winning almost took priority over personal form.
Well, if I'd done the job at a younger age, I think I might have blown a fuse by now and the wheels would have come off, but I think I'm a bit more philosophical. And now, for example, I've captained England, I don't know what, 35, 40 times. And, you know, to be honest, you just go with the flow, and, you know, it's come at the perfect time. I wouldn't recommend it unless you've got a bit of experience.
The reality check came mid-last year with a crushing 4-1 defeat from Australia.
Luckily or unluckily, I broke my finger a few times, and it took me out of the game for about 2 months. And I went away and had a look at my own game. And since then, for the 18 months, I've played how I want to play.
Nasser's 14-12 win-loss account might slip into the red on this tour. Accused of being negative against India, this university-educated leader has at least given the job a lot of thought.
I think that your team don't see you as someone who's constantly trying to push themselves, trying to do things for themselves, trying to be in any way showboating. I think looking after your players, I think getting a mixture of being one of the boys and not one of the boys. I think having clear fundamentals as to what you want to do as a team, as a captain. I think your body language on the field is very important. I think it's one of the first things Duncan Fletcher said to me as captain, is that your team in difficult situations will always be looking to you.
It's through. It's nicely played. Gave himself some width, went to the onside. And he's going to make the run.
Originally dumped from Test cricket with a reputation for being difficult, maybe a few more Nasser Hussains are just what England needs. When it was written in the press this year that he shouldn't bat first drop in the one-day game, Nasser penned a suitable reply with his bat and underlined it with his finger.
And there's
his first one-day international 100.
I believe, just like me, they get things wrong occasionally, and I'll let them know that. But you only win in England. You only win if you're winning, and if you're playing well and playing cricket well, you're the best captain, the best players in the world, and if you're not, you're the worst.
The Hussain family tale has an Australian twist. Nasser's sister Benazir dances with the West Australian Ballet, and this week his wife Karen gave birth to their second child in Perth. Baby Joel could one day be eligible for the baggy green.
It's not a bad place to have on your passport, really, born in Perth, and as long as it doesn't become too Australian in its first 3 months and start abusing me or anything like that. So.
The Australian team targets the opposing captain, and this one accepts his leadership will be judged by this tour. For Nasser Hussain, it's the fight of his career.
But unfortunately, we as a team haven't taken our chances enough to put Australia under pressure, and we're going to have to learn to do that soon.
Tim Sheridan with that story, I think pretty well chosen words. It's the fight of his career. I was interested early in that story where he said, you know, he wants to be laid back and he sort of just takes everything water off a duck's back. He doesn't appear to be that sort of person.
No, I think it's the pressure of the situation. He did say, I've noticed that as well. The other thing he did say is that he wants to show Australia just what England can do, that they're a world-class top side. I think the pressure of that is changing the way they play and probably changing the way that he is captaining. One of his quotes was, I just want to go with the flow, I just want to enjoy it. Well, I don't think they're doing that. I don't think they're going with the flow. As I said, they're changing the flow on a regular basis out there and making it very difficult to follow.
If I asked you to give Nasser Hussain a word of advice from the experience you've had, is that it, or is there more to it?
No, that's exactly what I'd say. I'd listen to his own words. Maybe listen to that interview about what he says about captaincy and this England side. He wants to show everyone, sure, everyone wants to play in the best team in the world and show people around the world that you've got a top-class side. But the way you do that is by relaxing, enjoying your cricket, giving people opportunities and just keeping it simple, particularly when you've got young fellas.
Yes, Nasser Hussain, he's got his work cut out. I think he has anyway. And, well, if he can turn England around on this tour, he's done one hell of a job. We're going to take a break and then we'll be back with the masterclass. Time now for the masterclass out in the centre of the Adelaide Oval. Before we go, Ian Healy and Ashley Mallett are out in the middle. Was Heels any good playing off breaks?
Hills played off breaks two ways. Firstly, he tried to cut the ball that pitched on off and was heading for leg. That's how he played most bowling. And then if that didn't work, it was the cow corner slog.
The slog?
Yeah, to deep mid wicket, a bit like yourself actually.
Heels, let's